we should be on page 191. We are still adding and subtracting fractions. If we're adding and subtracting fractions, they need a common denominator. Denominator, top or bottom? Bottom. Okay. So for this one, if we need a common denominator, what will 6 and 12 both go into? No, what will they both go into? 12. Now 2 is a what of these two? Fact is 2 little? It's littler than them, very factor. So 2 would be a factor of these, but a multiple of these would be 12. If we're going to add fractions, it's easiest to stack them. I'm not going to have to change this one, am I? What would I have had to do to 6 to get a 12? Okay, so I would have to do that here also. Do we add the denominators? No, we keep them and bring them down. That's why we got them in common to start with. And then 2 plus 6. If you didn't see this answer on ACT Aspire, what would you do to it? Simplify it. What will go into both of them?
4. 2.
So if I divide each one by 4, I get...
2/3.
Is this in simplest form? Yes. All right, next one. What's the common denominator? 10. Is 10 a multiple or a factor of 5 and 10? Very factor. So 5 would be a factor. 10 is a multiple. Okay. We don't have to change this one. It was already in tenths. What would I have had to do to that 5 to get this? So I have to do that up here also.
4.
What do I do with the denominator?
Just keep them.
Just keep them.
And then that would be 7.
Is that in simplest form?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh? Yes. What kind of number is 7? Prime or composite? Prime. Doesn't have any other factors besides 7 and 1. What makes 10 a composite?
5 and 2.
Has other factors. 5 and 2, 10 and 1. If it has any other factors. What's a common denominator for 8 and 4?
8.
Is 4 a factor or a multiple of 4 and 8? Factor. It's one of the smaller numbers, very factors. Is 32 a factor or multiple of 8 and 4? Multiple, monster, multiples. What's my common denominator here?
8.
8. What would I have had to do?
Times 2.
That's 6.
What do we do with that denominator?
Keep it.
What do we do with the numerator?
Add 8.
If I didn't see that, what would I look for?
1.
I would look for 1. 8 eighths is 1.
1.
All right, 2/3
2.
and 3/6.
Can we go open? Oh, wait.
What would my common denominator be?
6.
6. Okay, what would I have had to do to that? So I have to do it here too. What do we do with that denominator?
Keep it.
4 plus 3.
7.
I don't see that on ACT Aspire. What am I looking for?
No.
Okay, 6 goes into 7. How many whole times?
1.
How many left over?
1.
1 what?
6.
If they asked you to find a diagram of that,
Oh, my. The boys missed. That's so beautiful. I know.
no. beautiful?
Yeah, it's
And would I need 2 of them? Okay. How many would be shaded on this one? Okay, all of them. How many would be shaded on this one? Just 1. All right. Choose equal expressions. Now, choose all of the expressions that are equal to 1/2 plus 2/3. So is it going to be just one answer? Multiple choice, one answer? No. Don't just see these and say, okay, it's multiple choice. Choose all of the expressions. What is 2/4 when it's simplified? 1/2. What is 3/9 when it's simplified? You were right at the first time. What'd you say? It's 1/3, isn't it? So is this equivalent? No. So A doesn't work. We need to be still able to see it. Let me write this up here so when I slide it, it'll still be up here. Okay?
It works.
What's 3 when you simplify it? What is 3 and 6? Excuse me. 3/6 when you simplify it. What's 4/6 when you simplify it?
Yay, that's equivalent.
So is B equivalent? Yes.
It's the same thing. No, I already know it's not equivalent. No.
Is there any way when we have, because we always keep the denominator, don't we? So this would be 3/5. There's no way that 5 is a common denominator of 2 and 3, is it? So that one's just, we can see that one quick.
They put the 5 because they added 3 and 2.
Okay, what's 5/10 simplified?
1/2.
What is 6/9 when it's simplified? Okay, so is this one equivalent? Yes. Okay, we can already see the 1/2. That's there, definitely there. Now let's look at these 2 things. I have 1/3 and I have 2/6. What's the common denominator? 6, so I wouldn't change that one. What would I have to do to this one? So I would have to do that. So that's going to end up being 4/6. And then if I simplified it, it would be.
You have to add the other one.
So is that equivalent?
No, wait,
No, because this is 2/3. Okay, let's look at it. Simplify this by 2. Get 1/3. How much is 1/3 and 1/3?
2/3.
2/3. So are these 2 is the E equivalent to this? Okay.
That comes, I said yes. No, we all said yes. We all
All right. And then it tells us that we're going to find the value. We've already found the value of all of them. All right. Now this is how it's probably going to be presented to you on ACT Aspire. First of all, if we are doing equivalence and they have a 14 here, if I put a 14 here, what would I have had to done to 7 to get that 14? Multiplied it by 2. So if I multiply 3 times 2, what do I get? 6. So what goes here? What goes here? 14. Okay. Now, so if we look at this one, what's the common denominator of 9 and 2? Stop for a moment. Think it through. What's the common denominator of 9 and 2? 18. So what goes here? 18. Now, does this make sense? Is 9 half of 18? Yes. So there we're good there. What would I do to this 9 to get this 18? So what would I have to do to this? So what would go here? What's the common denominator between 5 and 2? What would I have to do to that to get that? What if I do 3 times 2? What do I get? 6, so that makes sense. What's half? When we're talking about tenths, what's half? 5 tenths. So just be careful on ACT Aspire. It will often present it to you like this. Decide whether each equation is true or false and show your reasoning. What would I have to do to 3 to get 21? Times 7. What's 1 times 7?
No.
Are these equivalent?
No.
What would I have to do to 7 to get 21? Are these equivalent? Yes. But if this isn't, then the whole thing isn't, is it? All right. Let's look at this one. What'd they do here? They added the denominators, and that's okay, isn't it? We're supposed to add the denominators, but what else did they do?
They added. They don't. They're
Not supposed to add the denominators, and that's what they did, didn't they?
Yes. They're supposed to say they added.
Is 9/18 half? Yeah, that's okay, but what would I have to do to 9 to get this 18? What's 4 times 2? They're not equivalent, are they? Is 15 the common denominator of 3 and 5? Yes. What would I have had to done to this to get this? And then 2 times 5 is 10. So that was okay, isn't it? What would I have to do to 5 to get 15? What's 2 times 3? That's not okay, is it? So are those equivalent? No. All right. Peace.